Hi, I'm James and I'm 1/3 of Trading the Market, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing a little known strategy called Lay the Half-Time Correct Score. Now, we are predominantly a betting exchange trading channel, but we also cover all types of trading, betting, match betting, gambling topics, and in the future, so much more. For this strategy, I will be using the Betfair exchange, but this is not typically trading. It's more of a bet using the lay function on the exchanges. You can't do this using a bookmaker. Now this can be done on all exchanges and using trading software, but it's actually so simple to do this manually, and this is how I've been using this process. Sometimes even using my mobile phone on the Betfair exchange app. Within the video I will be sharing a month's worth of results in spreadsheets using this strategy, and how I came to choose some of the football matches. And then you can analyse my data, my profit and loss, return of investment and strike rate to judge for yourself if this is a viable strategy. It's one we personally use at Trading the Market. So let's get into it. The basic principle of this strategy is to find football matches that are at half time and where the leagues have a chance of second half goals. It's as simple as that. So we will then head over to the correct score markets on Betfair and then place a lay bet at whatever price the half time scoreline is currently at. So if the game is 0-0 at half time, we would then lay the 0-0 correct score. If the game is 1-0, we lay 1-0, and if the game is 2-1, we lay the 2-1 correct score, and so on. So simple, right? Wrong. Well, it is in theory, but there is your liability to consider. The cost you are liable to pay if your bet loses. If we lay the correct score at 0-0 at odds of decimal 4 for say £5, we are looking at a £15 liability or loss to win £5. If our bet loses, we are liable to lose £15. If our bet wins, we make our £5 stake no matter what. In this scenario, to win our lay bet, all we need is a goal from either team in the second half, as we have effectively bet against the score finishing 0-0 at the full-time whistle. So one goal scored and we make our £5 profit. Using a £50 lay stake, this would see our liability increase to £150 and so on. Now it's simple. Wrong, we still need a goal. So we're better to start than Europe's top 5 leagues. Now every football fan thinks they are an expert on these leagues. Men and women up and down the country are placing bets and accumulators every weekend on blind hunches. To be successful bettors and traders, we can't rely on hunches. Data is key to providing profitable bets and trades. So as we are needing a second half goal, let's take a look at some data on goals and when they are scored from Europe's top leagues. As you can see on the spreadsheet, these stats are current and are from this season only. Starting with the English Premier League, goals scored in the first half are 44.91% of the time, and in the second half of games, 55.09% of the time. Spain's La Liga is 45.20% for first half goals and 54.80% for second half goals. Italy's Serie A is 43.87% for first half compared to 56.13% for second half. Germany's Bundesliga is 44.37% in the first half and 55.63% in the second. The French League 1 is 46.47% for first half goals and 53.53% for second half goals. I've also thrown in the USA's MLS, as this is a league I use with this strategy, standing at 45.17% for first half goals and 54.83% for second half goals. You will find across most leagues the second half goals percentages are higher, but in the top leagues of the world these percentages are increased further, hence why I use them. So as you can see, we are more likely to get a goal in the second half of football matches, and this suits our strategy to a T. It isn't always guaranteed, as nothing in life is, but if we maximise when it's more likely to happen, this will aid us in our success with our lay bet. We could delve deeper into stats, with individual teams and when goals are more likely to occur. But for the purposes of the video I will hold back on this, as I could be going through spreadsheets for hours. Maybe in future videos we can take a look at all these scenarios, but for now I'll stick to the overall league percentages. Now we have the stats to back us up and be more favourable in terms of our strategy, we can get into some live examples and how I choose some of the matches I get involved on, using a great website known as www.sofascore.com. I still use Soccerstatscom and footystats.org and will reference Soccerstats shortly. But to crunch some numbers pre-game for a quick overview of how a first half of a football match has gone, I use Sofascore. It has some incredible tools such as attack momentum, which can give an idea of which team is attacking more, The lineups with each player's individual rating, and even clicking on each player will provide a heat map as to where the player has spent most of his time on the pitch during the game. The statistics provide stats for shots on target, corners, passes made and so on. Standing shows where either team is placed in their respective league, and matches can give a good rundown of the first team to score, over and under goal stats, clean sheets and corners. All good data to quickly read and use from the previous 5 to 10 games, so current stats are very useful too. I highly recommend Soccerstatscom, as this is a free to use website, and if you're trading and betting on football, it will give you some great quick statistics on all major and minor leagues and football matches, so go and check it out for yourself. If it helps you out, then happy days. Just before we jump into some live examples, if we first take a glance at Soccerstatscom, another great free tool to use, and click into one of the top 5 leagues, I can show you where to find the goal percentages for each team scoring in either half. So let's choose the English Premier League. Pay no mind to all the pop-up adverts, which are quite annoying I might add, but for the free readily available stats we can take from it, I'm sure you can put up with the slight inconvenience. So let's click the Premier League, and just below we can see latest, matches, form, head-to-head, goals, half, timing and first. From these we want to select half, so let's click into it. Here you will find many interesting stats on goals and timings and so on, but the one we want to be looking at if we scroll all the way down is goals by half. This shows us the current season and displays the team, how many goals scored this season, the percentage of goals scored for the first half, and then the percentage of goals scored in the second half, and then the average minute goals are scored. This is a great section to find value in football matches, and helps me pick which games to choose to use this strategy on. So without further ado, let's get stuck into Betfair. So here we are at half time. This is Chelsea versus Newcastle, and the score is currently 0-0, and the price to lay the correct score is currently sat at decimal 4.5. So let's head over to Sofascore.com and quickly have a look. Here you can see the attack momentum, and Chelsea are having the lion's share. If we click into lineups, we can see the ratings for each team. This gives you an in-depth player rating for either side. Clicking into the stats will give us the stats for the game. And if we see the standings, we can see where they are in the league. And if we click on matches, here we can see the stats for both teams from the previous games. This will give us a good indication of whether we're going to get a second half goal. Like I say, it's a great little tool just to click over to and have a good look at. It'll give you a quick stats for the game. So if we click back over to Betfair, we can then place our lay bet. As always, we are not promoting using large stakes, so for the purposes of the video I'll be using a £5 lay stake. At the current price this would give us a liability of £17.50, but as a little trick that I use, I wait a few minutes into the second half and the price drops dramatically. So putting in an order and waiting a few minutes, this will then reduce our liability. So as you can see, we have a £5 lay stake with an order put in for decimal 4, and our liability will be £15. Once matched, all we need to wait for is a goal. So here we are in the 87th minute, and this was a close one. We've just had a goal from Kai Havertz to put Chelsea 1-0 up. This guarantees us our £5 profit from our lay stake. Now Betfair are offering us a cash out, which is ridiculous. The fact that we've won our £5 and they think we're going to cash out for £4.98, and in some instances even less, which I will show you in some of the other bets, is a joke. But not to worry, our profit is secure, and this is the lay the correct score at half time strategy in its purest form. So let's move on to the next example. Here we have Fiorentina versus Bologna in the Serie A, and as you can see, we've had a red card in the game. It's currently 0-0 at half time, and to lay the 0-0 correct score, it currently sits at decimal 6.6. So for a lay stake at decimal 6.6, we would see our liability sit at £28. So again, we'll put in an order for a few ticks less to reduce our liability. So in this match, I'm putting in an order at decimal 5.2 with a lay stake of £5. This will see our liability at £21. So we'll place the bet and wait for the second half to kick off, let the bet get matched, and then wait for a goal. So as you can see, it's the 69th minute and Fiorentina have just gone 1-0 up. Now we have our goal, we win our £5, and Betfair are offering us a cash out of a loss of £1 and 2 pence. Absolute joke. But the same again, our bet's won and we move on. Now in this next match, this is Luton versus QPR. Luton are already 1-0 up and we're in the 46th minute. The lay price is currently sat at decimal 3.65 and this will leave us a liability of £13.25. So again, to reduce our liability, we'll put in an order at decimal 3.3 and this will give us a liability of £11.50. So now it's the 49th minute, just a few moments later, and our lay bet has been matched. And all we need now is a goal. And just 5 minutes later we have our goal and we have our £5 profit. Boom. So as you can see, this is easy to put into practice. Place one simple lay bet which can also just as easily be done from your mobile phone and then wait for either team to score a goal and we are in the money. So now I will show you a month's worth of data laying the half-time correct score. Let's head over to the spreadsheets. So I'll go through each week's spreadsheet individually. Then I will show the 4 weeks combined with my return of investment and strike rate included. So in week 1, I laid the half-time score in 16 matches with a lay stake of £5 to £10 and was successful in 14 of those, resulting in a profit of £23.49. In week 2, I laid the correct score in 23 matches with a lay stake of just £5 for the entirety of the week and was successful in 19 of those matches, giving a profit of £29. In week 3, I placed 18 half-time lay bets using £5 lay stakes in every match and was successful in 16 matches, producing a £53 profit on the week. And finally, for week 4, I laid the half-time correct score 18 times with a lay stake of £5 again and was successful in 15 of those games, resulting in a weekly profit of £34. So over the 4 weeks this gave me a combined monthly profit of £139.49, with a return of investment of 11.42% and a strike rate of 85.33%, which is not too shabby at all. So in summary, obviously the more your bank grows, you can increase your lay stake in line with it. So using £50 lay stakes would have seen me make £1,390.49 profit in just 4 weeks. Obviously this isn't guaranteed and results will vary for everyone depending on the football matches chosen. But in my humble opinion, this definitely is a viable strategy to learn and then use going forward, as long as you do your research. If you decide to take up the mantle and apply this strategy to your daily betting and trading, please feel free to share your profit or loss or any tips for picking football matches with the rest of the Trade in the Market community in the comment section. I've been James, this is the Lay the Halftime Correct Score strategy, and we are all Trade in the Market. Until next time, happy trading.